Good morning and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today we are so excited to have a special guest, Daniel, again today. I am Virginia Inge. I'm a licensed counselor and behavioral health administrator here at Family Health. And Daniel, will you introduce yourself for our viewers again?
Yes, I will. I'm Daniel Stombaum, the property officer here at Mobile County Health Department. And I also work with everything, just about.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely wear a lot of hats here. So, as we talked about before, Daniel is a leader here at the health department, and he leads a lot of our management council meetings, and he just has incredible insight. And so, he had something in particular with the new year coming up that he thought would be helpful for people to hear about. And so, we're so excited. You know, I'm excited for employees here, us as a team and a staff here, and viewers and in the community as well, and how we can build perspective, right? So today, the title, which you came up with, is Sketch Marks, Understanding the Unfinished. So Daniel, can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Absolutely. Sketch marks is a concept, and really it revolutionized the way that I dealt with myself and the way that I dealt with other people in my life. And I think going into the new year, we tend to have a lot of anticipation of what could be better and what could be different in the new year, but we also have a lot of drag or a lot of anchors from what didn't go so well or where we didn't do so well in the last year. And it takes us a while sometimes to overcome all of those negative feelings before we can really explore and enjoy the possibility of the positive. And so sketch marks was something that came up with. I love to draw, I love art, and that's just one of my passions in life. And I have a place at the house that's got an art desk, and it's got sketches and drawing. I'm constantly drawing, and one of them I brought with me to show you today because it illustrates what we're talking about today in this concept of sketch marks. When you make a sketch, this is a sketch that I did of my son. And I don't know if you can see that very well here. Okay, good. It's a sketch I did of my son. It hangs on my wall exactly as it is, and it's unfinished. And I was walking through looking for something in the art room the other day, and I saw the sketches that I've been working on. Some were almost done, some were colorized and in frames and mats, and they were ready to go out. And I saw these sketches that were not done, and this one in particular was on the desk, and it was unfinished. And I looked at the picture, and as I saw it, I found myself making this statement. I said, this is an unfinished picture. Or this is one thing I didn't get done last year. It's unfinished. But then it just reminded me and dawned on me that the person in the picture is unfinished. And sometimes it's easy as a parent to look at things that your kids should be doing or should not be doing, and you tend to get a little bit harsh with them, but then you realize this person is not finished. Give them grace. Give them grace to become the person that they are. And the more I picked up the picture and looked at it, the more I knew I needed to put it in a frame as it was, as a reminder to myself that this person that I love was unfinished, and to give them grace, and to continue to give them grace. And it was a reminder to me to give myself grace. You know, a lot of us, all of us, in fact, are in a sketch phase. Some of us are, the lines of who we are in our character have not been defined yet. They've not been finished in yet. They've not been darkened in yet. There's no color applied. But when you're drawing a picture and putting it together, when you reach a point as this sketch is, there's a part of you as the artist that stops and says, I don't want to go any further, because if I go any further on this picture, it loses out on all the lines. You lose out all the guidelines that you put in place when you brought this from a white piece of paper into an image. You lose it. And anyone that looks at that picture when you're done with it will only see the finished product, and they'll say, well, that's a great picture. But they don't see the beauty of the fact that what it took to become the great picture. And to me, seeing this picture on a sketch form reminds me that the value that I have every single day, the people that I interact with, maybe they aren't doing things the way that I think they should. And maybe I'm tempted to lose patience on some things, but it reminds me that I'm watching their picture become what it's going to be. And it's my privilege to see this. I think it was Michelangelo, when he did the Sistine Chapel, he invited 75 people to watch him do this picture. And they watched him climb the scaffolding and get the charcoal pieces. They watched him draw the lines out and sketch out the roughings of what would become this beautiful painting years later. When he was done with the painting, they invited all these people in to show them the unveiling of the ceiling gallery, and everyone was just blown away and impressed. And those same 75 people were part of that audience, and they asked them, they said, isn't this the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? And they said, no. The most beautiful part about this picture we got to see on day one when it's just the roughings.
Yeah.
And to me, it brings out the value of what we get to see in people every day. You're seeing just the roughings. You see them develop and become the people they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Wow. So basically what I'm hearing you say too is it'd be more fulfilling and even more enlightening if you could see art along the way to its completion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
and how that relates to you. Obviously, at first it kind of was that feeling of grace toward your son. He's continuing to develop, and having that grace, that unfinished person, that unfinished sketch, and then be self-reflective on yourself too, because sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves and wanting to be perfect or wanting to be complete,
Exactly.
but not getting there yet.
Exactly, and the picture is ours to control. If you see a part of your picture that you don't like, instead of giving up in that area, instead of saying, I can't make progress, or I just who I am, I'll just never change, maybe you speak out of turn, or you say the wrong things, or you say off-color things, or whatever it is that makes you uncomfortable, other people uncomfortable, and you tend to think, well, that's just who I am, I just say what I think. You can change. All of us have the eraser, and those things in your life, you can do some self-development. You can do some things that will change your attitudes and change your perspectives and give you the outlook on life that you want to have. I don't think any of us want to have a picture that's all scribbles and mess-ups. If you've messed up in an area, that's part of life, it's part of who you are, but that eraser works in a lot of ways. There's ways to get that eraser to work and to redefine some areas of your life that you feel like you need to be redefining, for sure.
So really, it sounds a lot like a perspective that we can take, that instead of just saying, no, this is me, use adversity or use constructive criticism or use our own criticism of ourselves to say, okay, I don't want it to be this way, but I can use my eraser and my pencil and develop this part of myself more.
Yep.
And make it what I want it to be.
Yes, and the perspective carries on far into your life. This picture was drawn when he was 7.
Yeah.
This was before the preteen years. This is before the teenage years kick in, where he is now. Where you tend to look at some things and go, oh, where's the 7-year-old boy? Every parent faces that, but man, it's still there, and you just need to give yourself some grace. And so that perspective is one that can carry on even into seasons that you haven't experienced yet, if you can adopt the perspective of grace for yourself and for other people.
Yeah. So what might prevent somebody from continual development in obviously becoming more and more of that whole person? What might prevent somebody in your experience?
I think maybe a discouragement or a depression, or maybe an accepting of a false reality, saying that this is who I always am going to be.
Okay.
There are books, there are things available, resources available that can help you overcome and can help you develop areas that you want to develop in your life. But I would think it would be this I give up mentality. I can't change. Or someone has told you that you can't. You'll never be good at that. You'll never be that kind of person.
Right. And I got to say, a lot of what you're sharing, it kind of reminds me of some mentors in my life. And, it's wisdom, what you're sharing. And definitely with the counseling process, one thing I look to empower patients about is you're set apart. The fact that you're here, the fact that you're looking to develop yourself and, strengthen your character strengths and everything else really sets you apart. And it's true, that attitude of, I want to grow, things in my life are not working right now, help me.
Right.
That's just a great place to be if you really want to succeed and develop into that beautiful mess that we all are.
Right. Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Well, in fact, I was probably 11, and I was at a church, and this guy played a guitar, and he played this guitar all the time, and I always thought that was the greatest thing. And I always wanted to play the guitar, but I picked one up, it was out of tune, I didn't know how to tune it, and so I tried a few strings, and I convinced myself in that moment I would never be able to play the guitar, because I was no good at that. Fast forward several years later, I'm in another church, another man is playing a guitar, and I came up to him after the service. I said, man, that's awesome. I always wished I could play the guitar. He says, well, have you tried? I said, well, I'm just not any good at that. And he said, so what you're saying is it's easier for you to say you're not good at something than it is to actually pick it up and try it. with someone that
Love
could
it.
teach you. And they did, and it was awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
It's all about the attitude and the perspective.
Yeah.
Well, we have reached our 10-minute mark, and I really thank you for coming on. I guess
Yeah.
I have one more question.
Okay.
What do you love about art?
I love to catch people. I love to catch situations and aspects, and love to use that art to remind people this concept. And so, since this picture the sketch mark concept has gone on, I found ways to look for situations and look for pictures and images to help remind people of that concept. I love to gift art, and it's one of the things that I can just see something and have a desire to finish it and say, I'm going to give this to this person as a surprise. And so my first piece for 2019 is for you, actually. Yeah,
For me?
for you.
Oh my God!
So I saw an image the other day, and when I saw it, as soon as I saw it, I like this. I need to get this to Virginia because the nature of what you do with the patients and clients here, I wanted you to remind yourself and be reminded of those moments, because even a licensed therapist has times where you look and go, I don't know if I'm making a difference. I don't know if I'm making an impact. I don't see something changing as quickly as it would be if they just do what I would say, or my suggestions, right? This idea.
Yeah.
And so to remind you of that, I found this, so I made a sketch for you.
Oh my goodness! You are so sweet. So this this is a really good man in my life. So
Yeah.
thank you, Daniel.
You're very welcome.
Oh, I really appreciate that. I'm blushing. I'm definitely blushing. Well, that's a wrap. You always are a tearjerker.
Well,
But anyway, so thank you so much for viewers tuning in, and I hope that this can help your day go a little bit better. Happy Wellness Wednesday. To reach one of our counselors, you can call us, Central Appointments, 251-690-8889. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good
thanks.
one.
Have a good day.